Hello everyone, Floppy Waffle 69 here, and today's viewing entertainment, I'm actually not going to do a ship review, but rather discuss and talk about a battle I had the other day with me and my div mate goalie. We are in a tier 9 light cruiser, super light cruiser, the Dalian. Um, Basically an up-tiered Harbin with normal torpedoes, pretty sure. Not the deep water torpedoes. And obviously you don't have torpedo reload boost. You don't have that like you do down at tier 8 for the Harbin. The Dalian is as a ship you don't see played a whole lot, right? I think we can all agree that the Dalian is easily dismissible, easily skipped over. Not only for its play style, that is rather smoke up, farm, and then sail away and rely on your stealth, um, but also because of the doubloon price that she's asked for. I believe you could still grab her in the premium store, though I'm not 100% guaranteed on that or can confirm that. Um, but yeah, again, like I'm not going to sit here and say would I recommend her, would I not. I'll probably wait for a ship review of her down the road. I have no plans on reviewing her anytime soon, as I'm bringing you a video today of just a gameplay tactics and going to discuss some battles, I guess, to show you kind of what I do or how I play the game, especially when I play my favorite class of ship, which is not only cruiser but the light cruiser. I love light cruisers. I think they are dominant and quintessential in their gameplay and their impact they have on the battle. But I can also acknowledge, and I will say this right out the gate, and this could be confidential, not confidential, my bad. This could be conflicting opinions here, depending on how most people are. I thoroughly believe the light cruiser is the hardest class of ship to play in this game. Some of you might think it's the destroyer. I commend you. Some of you in some weird mind might think battleship, which, okay, I respect that opinion. But for me, it is the light cruiser. Now, why do I think the light cruiser is the hardest ship to play? Well, one, it is a class of ship that usually, again, you have the IFHE skill you can take, can't pen next to anything other than destroyers and some cruisers without taking the IFH skill with your HE. This is true, right? Also, the armor. Oh my god, the armor, or lack thereof. Now, light cruisers should fall under this category of, well, hey, I have no armor, therefore if I take any amounts of hard-hitting AP, I will blow up, which the vast majority of them do. But some of them do fall under the category of you could sit flat broadside and a battleship just absolutely nukes you or thinks he's going to, and you get nothing but overpens. We've seen that. I think the most notorious one would be the Smolensk, everyone's favorite Russian super fast-firing 16-gun light cruiser at tier 10. And I guess another one, at least I've seen some, like, for example, like the Atlanta with, like, large caliber guns go right through that thing as well. And then the very, very rare cases, the Austin, I believe, as well falls into that category. Sometimes the Genon is too, right? Because they're essentially the same class of ship. So, but yeah, those two reasons in their self make light cruisers, in my opinion, the hardest class of ship to play. They are solely based upon how you position your ship and knowing the limitations and the strengths of your vessel, which a lot of people, I would say, don't really know or come to fully grasp of. Also, you have to have I would say, an exquisite knowledge of game mechanics, like overmatch, HE penetration, shell ballistics, etc. And also, I would say the knowledge of maps will severely help the ship or hinder if you don't know a map. Right, the impact you'll have on the battle if you're not knowing how a map is or certain positions to take on a map, I believe will lead to a early exit from the battle if you're playing a light cruiser. And one thing I want to talk about with light cruisers in general is shot selection. I think sometimes because we have these rapid firing guns, usually smaller caliber, we think we have to just shoot all the time, and that's not the case. You'll see in this video I highlight exactly how I would play most of light cruisers. Knowing when to shoot, knowing when not to shoot. But I do think the light cruiser extremely excels at the support role, which obviously cruisers already do, but severely increases either the survival, either that being to live longer or to certainly die faster of your destroyers. I believe that they are the ultimate support to your destroyers via with AA protection, like I'm attempting to do here against the enemy Hildebrand and Shinano division. Um, though AA is kind of in the state where you're still going to get a strike off, all I can do is mitigate the amount of bombs that can, or torpedo bombers that can hopefully strike the Marceau at this point. But while also being careful and utilizing my smoke screen. I know that Dalian did receive some buffs here a couple updates ago. I don't know all the details. I think I maybe got a DPM buff. Could be wrong on that. And I think more importantly got a range buff. I don't know if I'm wrong about that. Please correct me in the comments. I'm not 100% sure. But the Dalian is it's a ship that I certainly wouldn't say, hey, you need to play this ship. This ship is like disgustingly strong. It's just one of those ships that I will play from time to time because I enjoy a little bit of a challenge. I'm a little bit of a freak when it comes to that, I would say. And I usually happen to like ships that are generally disregarded in the community. I know I mentioned this in my Ibuki video. One other ship that you're going to see me talk a lot about in the future to come in this game is the Neptune, as you see on the screen there to my left. I love the Neptune. Another great ship, super light cruiser. I would say the community definitely thinks it's not a good ship, right? We can agree on that. The community generally hates it. It's a hard ship to play. So hopefully I can help shed some light on how to potentially, or how I play the Neptune, and how hopefully some tips and tricks that I can do eventually that can help you translate to a better Neptune player and or light cruiser player, right? Because that's the thing too is I think we can all improve our game severely. Myself included, I don't consider myself to be the perfect player. I know some CCs they like to tout, like to toot their own horn. I'm not one of those guys, so you're not going to see that on my channel. Because again, we just love the game, and hopefully anything we can do to help improve our gameplay and make it that much more fun, right? So obviously there was an example of the Harbin, which is basically my ship. What can happen to you if you are caught with your pants down there? I mean, he had a Roma, Siegfried, me, and Marceau, Freddy, all within his sights, and that ship didn't last very long, did it? No. So that's why you have to be careful. This is not an aggressive ship. This is a very, very much supporting vessel, right? But the Dalian, clocking at the lowest HP pool of all tier 9 cruisers, you have to make sure that you are conscious of where enemy targets are and where their guns are aiming, because again, it'll be an early exit from the battle if you are not careful with positioning, or at least knowing where you're positioning your vessel according to enemy targets, right? But one thing about this ship that certainly is phenomenal would have to be the guns, right? But when I talk about the guns, I don't mean like as in her raw damage with her guns. I'm talking as her DPM and DPS, right? She is a light cruiser. DPS is that much more important with her. How many shells she's throwing down range consecutively within a minute and landing those shells, right? Just some quick stats about her, right? I mean, she has the 5x2 130 millimeter gun. So these are technically like same guns that you would like Smolensk guns, but obviously double barreled. So like basically, I believe the Harbin has the 130s as well. So these are like small little destroyer guns put on a cruiser hull. So what does that mean? This thing's going to severely rely on its fire. Setting chance, which its HE DPM is 240,000, which is freaking awesome. And I believe her fire chance is only 8%, and she's only penetrating about 22 millimeters of effective armor. But she is getting 10.7 roughly fires per minute base. So I'm sure you could buff that with signal flags and whatnot to up that fire chance to about 10, which I believe I'm doing. And you have that commander, like Dai Rong or whatever his name is for the Pan Asians, that can increase your demolition expert skill by an additional %, which is very nice. So yeah, she is awesome. And her shell speed velocity, or her shell velocity, like shells going down range, it's not bad either. I mean, I'm trying to look at some like small little stats about her. I mean, 950 meters a second, like Hell yeah, that's great. It means it should be easy to hit the targets, especially given you're having a max range of what, 16 and a half kilometers now. So you should, reliably, more so than not, be landing your shells on target. And I would say roughly per salvo, you're probably landing around 7 to 8 shells on the target. So yeah, no complaints here on regards of the guns. Though the guns raw damage is not very good. I believe only clocking at like 1800-ish. And the AP again is pretty non-existent unless you're shooting like what I did. I load against a Harbin or like low, like very super lightly armored targets like Smolensk bears, where your AP, especially at closer ranges, can penetrate. I mean, yes, you can still chunk via broadsides on battleships, but you have to be careful. More often than not, you're going to be hucking HE downrange in this thing. That's definitely going to be your bread and butter of this ship. So, the torpedoes, 10-kilometer torpedoes. You get 2 launchers. I think they are triple launchers, if I'm not mistaken. And here's a good example. Yeah, exactly. So they are the triple launchers, which are again super super nice. With her, and with the Dalian's torpedoes, it's good to note that her torpedo tubes are the 533, so 4 times 3s, but 10-kilometer range with 15,100 damage on those torpedoes, traveling around 60 knots base. Pretty stealthy torps at the 1.2 detectability, with the reaction time of only 7.4 seconds. These torpedoes are dangerous in the fact that they will most likely catch your enemy ships off guard, especially if they don't have hydroacoustic search or if they don't have someone screening, like a sub or like a DD potentially. These torps definitely will come out of nowhere, and good luck dodging them, right? You certainly can if RNG allows and opens the gap, but again, the triple launchers, which I've already said are better than the quads, as they just have better dispersion values, I feel like, are just vastly superior. So anyways, enough about the ship. I don't want to go too heavy on the ship. That's not what this video is. It's definitely just more highlighting the gameplay in the background as I babble on. Hopefully you're watching what's going on here. Utilizing islands. Obviously, our Essex player is good. I comp him at the end of the game. I know one of my one of my teammates trashed the CB, calling him trash or whatever it is. Whatever. Like maybe because he didn't help him at the one point, but I mean, obviously by supporting me and supporting our flank, I think it definitely helped lead to potentially our victory in this game. I don't want to spoil too much. But yeah, obviously with the smoke screen being deployed by him via compiling with my smoke screen, obviously my div mate in the Freddy is able to utilize his secondaries and his guns, which is great. We can shoot from concealment to some degree. Yeah, again, just one-on-one, using islands, utilizing the smoke screens, communication, and positioning it so that I'm not overextending. Obviously, right now we are on the defensive. We have a Georgia who we're trying to kill. I believe I set a fire on him. Hopefully he ticks down. And now we have Conqueror pushing, which is essentially full HP with that AL Azuma, which has been playing pretty damn good, I'd say, since the beginning, playing his cruiser at range like I was supposed to with that thing. So it's definitely going to be a battle here with those 2 guys pushing in. But the good thing is to note is that the Conqueror does not have Hydro. And hopefully we can catch him with our torpedoes. Obviously, with the Azuma coming in with him, I do have to be conscientious about his hydroacoustic search. So I have to factor that in as well. I believe my smoke firing penalty on this thing, I have to double check the numbers and they're not in front of me. Either it's 4.6 kilometers or it's 5.3. I think it's 4.6. So you have a relatively like low smoke firing penalty, which is awesome, which is great. And one thing I want to highlight here, notice how I just launched 1 torpedo launcher in the beginning. I wanted to say, okay, let's launch 1. Let's see where he starts moving. Then I'll launch my second one. Again, I don't want to just dump my entire load of torpedoes because these are what's going to determine whether or not I survive this conflict or I kill these guys. It's not going to be on my guns. My guns are just going to be there for setting fires and hopefully ticking them over time. I launched both my sets and I immediately turned my other broadside and I launched both my torpedoes at this time because he is closing in on that range and I want to make sure that I can land these torpedoes on him and get him out of the game as soon as possible, as he is still around 60,000 HP, a little bit more though. With my HE, the aircraft carrier strikes, and my div mate who just passed away sadly, all of our effective fire on these targets hopefully would whittle down the ship. Again, great torpedo strike by the Essex to make the Conqueror turn and eat 3 of my torpedoes, setting them down to Davy Jones. And then it comes down to the Essex dropping the Azuma to get him down low enough to me setting a double fire on him, and against the contingencies, pumping out my DPM. Now I have to be careful because the Azuma does have that 310 millimeter AP, which completely overmatches my 16 millimeter ass. So I'm trying to swivel, trying to make my ship as maneuverable as possible and make it as small of a target as possible for that ship to kill me here and overmatch me. But he obviously is distracted at the moment with the Marceau coming in on his right side and the Essex striking him as well. I believe we do get him down here, just to assure of our all three of us focus fire, right? So obviously it's a replay bug. You see at the top the scores are flipped. We have 759 or whatever to their 98. I'm telling the CV, I'm letting him know that I don't think he's trash. He actually played very well, at least in my opinion. And now with points and up with if we see 4 minutes left, I think we could just run away at this point. I'm sure they're going to try to kill our CV, and they're obviously going to know that the Marceau is low enough HP. They're going to try to kill him. I do make the conscious or split-second decision here that, hey, if I just run away, I believe we will still win this game. Even if they cap A, even if they inevitably come and cap B, even if they cap C with the point differential on the board, I think the timer will click out as we are drawing near around 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in this game, that we'll still win as long as I continue to sail away. Of course, I have not done that yet, but now with the sinking of the Essex, I say, okay, we no longer have that aerial support. It's time to F off, and we're going to run away. There's just no point. With the Hildebrand's guns being the same as Aegir's, I think their 305s can overmatch me. You have the Shinano's AP skip bombers. You have the Hildebrand's torpedo bombers and the absolutely demented HE bombs. We're just going to run away. And then I feel bad for the Marceau as, he's like, oh, Dalian, I need your AA. I need your AA. I'm sorry, buddy. Hopefully forgive me if you see this, but it's like, we're going to have to run away. Because we're going to win this game, I think, even though I think you're going to get focused down by both aircraft carriers if we're putting asterisks around the Hildebrand, because he didn't leave spawn until I started farming him, halfway through the game. So, side note, I'm not a big fan of the Hildebrand. I think there are a lot. I don't like hybrid ships in general. I believe that they're not broken, but I believe that they could use some tweaks here and there, as do all CVs and planes, especially when it comes to plane spotting. But the Hildebrand, especially with how fast it is on its regenning of its planes and whatnot, it just kind of encourages the wrong kind of gameplay, and I'm not a big fan of that. So just a little side note. But again, this game is clocking down here. We have about just over 2 minutes left of this game, clocking down just to have 2 minutes. I'm thinking, hey, still just gonna run away. Just run away, make the smart decision here, and realize that we're going to win this game based upon points if I survive. Obviously, I believe the Marceau is going to go down just from constant plane spam. But this is just something you guys can do to hopefully, consider, maybe basically something that I hope that you guys understand. The mod I utilize, which helps the timer to see, how effective when you're going to win, basically. I know it's not really highlighting that right now. I don't know if it's a bug or whatnot, but I would definitely recommend utilizing that mod as just something that I think World of Warship should implement in the game in general. I don't know why they don't do that. I think it would be beneficial to everybody, every player, to see that timer based upon how many points you have and earning how much time will expire until you win the game. I think would be a great change or addition to the game that obviously we only have as a mod right now. But yeah, basically that sums up the game. It was a good game, I think, and I wanted to show this to you guys and pump out a video here. And hopefully you guys enjoy the gameplay to some degree. Again, I don't consider myself like phenomenal player in this game, but I do consider myself that, you make these good decisions subtly, during the game, of course, the game that will, indirectly lead or directly lead to your victory, which is great. I think I've made poor decisions in this game for sure. I think we all can do better on that regard, but this is definitely a decision that gives me two big thumbs up from me, and hopefully my teammates that were asking for AA or whatever understand that it was a good decision for me just to run. So, but yeah, again, kudos to my team. I thought it was well played overall by all of us. Again, Shinano, Hildebrand, I'm sure they played well, playing their ships to their strength. But I think, I can't help but wonder if the Hildebrand played a little bit more aggressive and utilized his guns in secondaries just a tad bit more, would he have made a bigger impact for his team to hopefully have a chance at actually, winning the game, especially because he could overmatch my ship completely and I was out of smoke screens. So clocking in finally with 197,000 damage. I mean, look at that, 569 shell hits. As you're going to see here, only 279 of those were penetrations and 280 were non-pens. Again, serious consideration about putting IFVG on this ship. I personally would say no. I don't believe 130 has crossed any meaningful threshold. Plus, you're only hurting your fire chance at that point, getting it down to 5 or 4-ish with the Dalian commander and the signal flags getting it back up to 6. I don't know. With only about a 4-second reload, probably not the ideal play, in my opinion, for that. Aircraft shot down, 5 with 4 torpedo hits, 2 incapacitations, 2 destroyed ribbons, 15 fires, and that is why I don't recommend IFHE. I think it's not uncommon to get a minimum of 10 fires per game in the Dalian if you play well. Obviously, if you play poorly, you'll probably get 1 or 2 fires and you'll be dead. So, again, hopefully this video highlights a little bit of positioning and Dalian, and hopefully light cruiser gameplay 101. 2 floating women, 4 defended, and assisted to capture. Obviously, we are clocking in with 2,500 base experience gained, and clocking in the top of the team there with base XP earned. So, again, this thing does print credits. I believe I did run a blue booster for credit income just because it is a tier 9, and I believe it does earn that approved tier 9 economy gain, right? So, anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I will go ahead and catch you guys next time. Peace out.